Ready to start. We were waiting on you.
We'll call this workshop back to order. City Manager.
Go.
Thank you, Councilman, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. So tonight, we're going to look at a preliminary look at our operating budget. And again, we like the theme of we preserve our heritage and protect our future by making good decisions. So we think those good decisions are reflected in your budget, and those things that help us preserve our heritage and our history and the things that made Destin what it is, as well as protecting the future of those to come. And we do that by making those good decisions today. So what we have before you tonight is a proposed operating budget that is preliminary. So a lot of things can change between now and then, but this is where we've kind of landed at this point. And we have a level of confidence that we can move forward with this with your blessings as we go through this lengthy budget process. So our proposed operating budget for FY26 is $27.3 million versus $26.8 million from last year, which is a 2% total increase over last year's operating budget, and we'll break that down for you as we go through this. Of that $27.3 million, the next slide shows a breakdown of that. 20% is for debt service, 38% for operating expenses, 29% for staff wages, and 13% for taxes and benefits. And that's where we're going to have a good bit of our conversation tonight. So when we talk about actual numbers, our staff wages, we're proposing a modest 3% increase, and that encaptures the cost of living increase and any merit increases. Staff and taxes and benefits, as we're proposing, are a 17% increase, and we'll talk about that in greater depth in just a moment. But from an operating expense side, we're proposing a 3% reduction. And debt service will be a 1% increase, and grants and aids, we're anticipating a 1% increase there as well. So one of the objectives of council of our critical priorities, 1.1, was to offer livable wages and benefits to attract and maintain high caliber qualified staff. Some budget highlights: the uncertified taxable values looks like they're going to increase by about 5%. Our operating expenses, we're proposing a 3% decrease, but a 7% increase in personnel. Only 3% of that is wages, and that's, again, the COLA and the any merit, but a 17% increase in benefits. And the reason that number is kind of lofty is we have calculated in going back into Social Security and Florida retirement system. So if you'll flip the page, the FRS total, if we're move forward, is 11.3 million. If we stay in our thrift plan, that is our current plan, would be about 10.6 million. So there's about a 7% increase between those two. And I'll tell you that this is kind of the Cadillac plan of the Florida retirement system. There's a little version we could scale back some on, but we wanted to present you the highest estimate we could come with based on what they will require us to do. But if you're not familiar with the Florida retirement system, there's two components to it. One is an investment side, where you're vested 1 year of participation, and then there's a defined benefit side that multiplies based on your number of years of service, what your job is, and that requires a 3% contribution of the employee. And it also, when you move into Social Security, that's going to be a 6.2% increase. So the reality is some of our staff's take-home checks could be reduced by 9%. But we believe, and we will have folks that will explain all the ins and outs of moving into this Florida retirement system before anyone has to. Initially, it is a voluntary program that if you want to move from the plan we're in now into the FRS, you can. However, moving forward, all new employees have to participate in the Florida retirement system. And in order to participate in FRS, we have to participate in Social Security. So my challenge to staff through this whole process was, let's do our very best to keep our operating expenses flat or a modest decrease, which we were able to bring them in at a 3% decrease. And that allows us to cover some of the cost of this plan if council so chooses to go there. So the next slide just shows the by function of the expenses. And again, these are preliminary numbers. Some of them may change. We don't think any of them would go up anymore, but we'll look for opportunities to bring some of those costs down where we can. From our proposed 26, it's 124 FTEs, which is down from 127 in the current year. So we're hopefully planning to get as much or more out of a relative reduction in staff, but through incentives and motivations, and perhaps even the Florida retirement system would be that motivating factor that folks want to contribute more and do more for our city. So in personnel, you'll see that we're actually, if you look at FTEs, it says we're up one, but by the time we calculate the numbers of hours in, it's really a reduction of about 3 full-time people on staff into the next year. So where do we go from here? We get the certified values from the property appraiser. Our next workshop will be on capital projects. We'll adopt a tentative millage rate, and then in September, we'd have the detailed budget briefings and the budget hearings. And I know we've been very high level in this information. We will entertain any questions, or if there have areas that you want more information about, I'll probably rely on Ms. Crystal to help me with that, because she's real good at that and I'm not. Yes, sir.
Yeah, did I miss the details behind a lot of these slides, or is it another packet?
It's going to come in another packet, or to whatever degree you want the detail, we'll provide that to you.
It's coming when?
Whenever you want it, sir. If you're ready for it, we'll get it to you in short order.
So our next step is a budget workshop number 2, capital projects?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Gotcha. So where can we get the backup for the proposed operating budget for all these things that are increasing?
Ms.
Besides,
Crystal's making a note to get it to you right now, I'm sure.
as in, like, what do you mean? They're going to send it to us?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
So do you have a definition of what level of detail you'd like on your detailed operating budgets? By line, or even, we have any of the lower level, so you can see how each line was composed?
Yeah, I definitely don't want a 175-page detailed line-by-line document, but just trying to really understand more of what makes up the numbers, right? It's
Totals
easy to
by
look at a
department.
bar graph and a pie chart and see these large numbers, but I really want to understand what's behind
Yes,
what's
sir.
behind the magic curtain.
I understand. And that's
So-
kind of what we wanted to hear tonight, is what level you wanted that, and we'll make sure
Sure.
you have it in short order.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also not too sure about the new FRS thing. I mean, I feel like it's a little premature that we're already putting it in a budget, and we haven't even really dove into it at a council meeting that I'm aware of, unless I missed something.
We talked about it
In detail? A new plan? I think somebody brought up about pursuing it.
No, we
Right, I think
made
it
a
was just like,
motion,
let's pursue it.
I believe I made the motion, and I
Right.
don't know if Mr. Destin seconded it, I can't remember who all was here, but
To pursue.
to pursue the, yeah, FRS and Social Security. And I don't remember if you were here or not.
No, I was here. I guess I just feel like pursuing it, to me personally, is a little premature to just put it into proposed budget on the first budget workshop without getting a full understanding of what that truly means, before we just throw these numbers out. But I know this is all can change and it can flow. I get it. I appreciate the decrease in the, what'd you say, 3% decrease in your operating budget because to offset the increase in the other stuff. So, I mean, kudos for doing that. I still don't think I'll fully be able to support an overall 2% increase in the overall budget when we're all said and done in a few months. But thanks for the start. Appreciate it.
Just a brief comment on the FRS. This is all preliminary. We're going to have to vote on it, but I would like to congratulate the city manager on figuring out a way, because it's pretty expensive to bring our employees back into the system. But having experienced the system in the school district, and my wife retired, and even I got retirement benefits, it's an excellent system. I think that when the employees voted many moons ago to check out of it, that was a bad choice, because it has some really outstanding benefits for them as they retire. And ultimately, this decision is going to be theirs in my mind, but at least we have a path where we could implement it, which we did not have before, because it's costly to put them back into the system. So, I'm going to congratulate you on figuring at least a way that we could do it. And we will go forward and we will continue our discussions with them, because after all, we don't want to force them into something, but it's a good deal. So, Teresa.
And to that end, part of our conversation would be, before we ask anybody to participate, we would make sure they had the resources and the tools to individually look to see if that makes a smart move for them or not.
Exactly.
Oh, shoot, yeah. I got a bunch of stuff. I support the FRS Social Security thing because I agree exactly with Mr. Destin. And it was right before I came on the council the first time that they opted out or whatever, and I was like, this. And having fallen under the FRS system when I worked over in Walton County, it was amazing. I didn't do the pension because, 8 years vesting, and there'll be some questions when y'all come back to the next workshop that you need to research. I think I know the answers, but we just need to make sure. Number one, if we go to the FRS, my memory and my understanding of the system is, because Jenny was also in the system, if you don't hit your vesting point, you still get back everything you put in plus what it grew. So if it grew 8% over 2 years or whatever, you get your money and your growth out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct.
that's right.
And so it's, if you hit your 8-year mark, so and I'm glad that it's not all or nothing. So the people who are closer to retirement, who it's not going to help them, they want to stay in the current plan and build up their retirement account, they can stay in their current plan. But if you're coming into the city or you're new and you think you might be here 10, 15, 20 years, FRS is a no-brainer. And Social Security, too, is a no-brainer, because what I'm afraid when the staff voted to leave is, we had some people, and we will need to know another item, Miss Jamie, the number of quarters you have to be paying into Social Security. I think I know the answer, but just make sure we have the facts, because if you have that many quarters left to work, then even though you may be a senior leader or senior member of the staff, long tenured member of the staff, you may still want to opt into that Social Security so that you have that fixed payment. Because a lot of, I think the reason the staff changed initially was, we're going to get this big pot of money and it's going to be ours and it's going to grow and it's going, every year it's going to go up by 8% or whatever. It doesn't go up 8% every year. And when you retire, that is your nest egg. It's not like you're going to get $1,500 or $2,500 or some of us, $3,000 or $4,000 from Social Security every month. That's your nest egg. And, if you still have to pay off a house or whatever. So the pros, in my mind, personally, significantly outweigh the cons on the FRS Social Security decision. The second thing, I've been meeting with Jamie and Larry and Mike from Centria because historically, because we voted to go to this system, what we did is we had gold-plated benefits and our salaries were a little bit lower than our peer group, our competitor group. And then a couple of years ago, we did the salary study, survey, and we raised the salaries, and now 2 years ago or last year, we raised the senior leader salary, so now we're competitive with all our peer group, Niceville, Panama City Beach, and all this, but we kept our benefits way high, and specifically, I'm talking about health care benefits. So, and Jamie just got some of it. She doesn't even have all the information, and I don't know if you want to talk about it or you want me to talk about it, but I'll let you talk about it. You're the expert.
Yeah. You want me to talk to the cost sharing? Yes.
I want you to explain where we are relative to our peer group, and then you can talk about the cost share. I wanted to make the statement, we're paying more than anybody else, more than Fort Walton Beach, more than Niceville, more than Panama City Beach, for healthcare benefits, both for our employees and for our employees and families and for our employees and spouses and employees and kids. And so, we need to get that back in line, where we're competitive in wages now. We're over competitive in healthcare benefits. If we can just bring that down, and as I look through the data you just sent me, I didn't have a lot of time, but it looks like everybody else is lowering their cost share to their staffs in the coming year also, but I'll let you address
So
it.
I did send council cost share comparisons for some of our neighboring municipalities and governmental entities. It's pretty standard to pay 100% for the employee. Right now, we contribute 66 2/3 to the benefits, or I'm sorry, to the family portion of the premiums, which is about 20 to 30% higher than our surrounding entities. So that is something that we are looking at. As we know, health insurance costs rise every single year, anywhere from, it could be 5 to 15%. So something that we made a priority this year is getting those costs under control. And I think that we have a way forward to do that. And we're going to have Mike from Centria here on Monday to kind of outline some thoughts that we have and some ideas to get those costs under control. But that is a conversation that we're looking forward to. And I did provide that information to all of you so you have some time to look at what our neighboring partners are doing with their premiums.
And so what just in theory we've discussed, just so nobody's shocked, is still paying for the employee 100%, but for the families or spouses or just children, that portion going from 66 2/3 down to 50%. So we're still above our competitors, but it's just kind of getting out of control. And if you look at the percentages that we pay for, on that first pie chart there, it's like we're paying as much for staff wages and benefits as we are for operating expenses. I mean, and that's it's over $10 million. And so we're just looking for some ways to save. Mike brought us I can't remember what the card is called, the savings card.
Yeah, the difference card.
Difference card.
The difference card. Yeah.
Which there'll be some costs, and we can go into more detail on that, or we can bring Mike in to go more detail on that the next budget workshop. But it potentially saves the staff member and the city money going forward. And so just some things we're looking at to try to make sure we're using as much of our money to get the most bang for our buck as we can for both our staff's benefit and for our citizens' benefit. And I think that is just in this broad overview. More details, I mean, we're not at the project level yet, and I'm sure the staff has all submitted their requests, and I know Crystal's working those and collating all that information. But, the 3% decrease, I think that's kind of in line with what Mr. Destin said. We need to be flat or a little less than flat. So I thank you and I thank the staff for finding some savings. As long as we're not sacrificing the quality of the service, I think this is going to be a great idea. And that's all I have. I will say one other thing on the previous workshop. We had money in there for, on those plans. A lot of things that we did throughout the city, particularly at Morgan Sports Park and stuff, those were in the strategic plan, or buying the Gulf Front, so that's just how we've operated.
Well, being the only person I think on this council that's living off the FRS system right now.
Oh, wow.
I can tell you, it's not bad. I'm now making more than I did when I retired. So, no, you do get a cost of living. It's not always what the cost of living is, but you do get a cost of living. Yeah. So that's your COLA. But my question was, I guess, do we have a senior staff committee that's looking at this whole FRS thing so that they can decide, yes, this is a good plan, no, this is not a good plan, this will not work for us, this will work for us? I'm pro-FRS, I'll tell you that right now, but I think it would behoove us to have at least some members of our employees looking at this and talking about this with an expert or someone that really knows all these issues. And I'd like to see, when you come back, how many you think we're going to have convert to this, just off the top of your head. It doesn't have to be a specific number, but is it a third? Is it half? Is it only 5%? What is it? But
Jamie may have.
Yes, that was a question that we asked in our all-employee survey, just to get a feel for what the employees wanted. And right now, we're about half of employees who'd want to stay in the old system and half who'd want to move to the new, to FRS.
do you know how many of those are? I'm assuming that the half that wants to stay are the ones that have already been here forever and want to stay. That part I get.
A number of staff who have been here, and it would not be beneficial for them to switch. However, some of our newer employees, it would absolutely be to their benefit.
So have we talked to the employees about that?
Yes, after we did our own employee satisfaction survey, we did small group sessions with each of the departments and all of the employees, and this was part of the conversation. So, and that's exactly what we thought it would be about. Half the employees, the ones who are newer, maybe a little bit younger, newer to the workforce, they are concerned about retirement and would like something that is similar to FRS, whereas people who have been here longer and have been contributing to the thrift savings plan would like to stay. It's just to their benefit. They either don't have the time to vest, or they have been not contributing to Social Security for so long it wouldn't be to their benefit.
Well, I do know that it's one of the top retirement systems in the nation, if not the number one. It used to be number one for a long time. But anyway, thank you.
Just one, and that's the beauty of what Jamie and the city manager are doing, is it's not like it was the last time where the employees voted and the majority voted to yank everybody out of a system. This is, you make an individual decision, and Jamie and Larry plan on bringing in either a Centria and or our investment advisor and saying, hey, this, there is no golden or silver bullet / rubric where, but here's some of the facts that you need to know, and every individual gets to decide. So we will have a hybrid system, at least for the foreseeable future, as opposed to we took a staff vote and or we had the senior leaders and they said, we're pulling everybody out or we're putting everybody in. If you want to stay with what you got, you can. If you want to keep your doctor or keep your, no, I won't go there. If you want to go to FRS and Social Security, you can. Nobody's going to make you do one or the other. You're going to be, and we'll try, Larry and Jamie will try to provide the information for you to make an informed decision that's best for you. So that's why, to me, this is a no-brainer.
It is, and, I'm supportive of Jim's concept about looking where we may be able to make some reductions to make the whole system whole, but there are several ways to do it. One way is reduction of the health to more realistic standards. Another way is just don't hire so many people in the future and give the ones we have here the really golden insurance in the plan, but we'll have to come to some kind of conclusion on how we're going to make it work out financially. Is there anything else that anybody wants to make an observation on? Kevin?